Home, we are told, is where the heart is. It's the place you return to after you've navigated the crime-strewn streets, driven miles down potentially hazardous highways and traffic-congested roads, where statistically you have a decent chance of getting into an accident at least once in your lifetime. Home is your safe haven, your delightful patch of personal peace and quiet, the place you can unwind, relax, scratch your backside, pick your nose, and melt in front of the TV, and expect nothing bad to happen. So it might be surprising to you that this center of security is riddled with hidden dangers, lying in wait as you twist your key into that trusted lock. Today, we'll look closely at these dangers in this episode of the Infographic Show, things in your home that are secretly killing you. Number 20. Household plants. Bet you didn't know that some plants that people regularly keep in their home are dangerous if eaten. Okay, so you don't generally go about eating your houseplants, but some young kids might, or older kids who are acting silly to impress their friends. Chow down on some daffodil and according to the Center of Poison Control, you are going to get sick. That's because they contain a toxin called alkaloid licarine. Eating a rhododendron could be life-threatening, and if the kids decide to see what the Christmas mistletoe tastes like, they're going to get ill. There's a long list of houseplants that might bring down your curious kid or pose a mortal danger to your deranged dog, so check out which plants you're putting in your house. At number 20, this is the least of your worries. Things are going to get worse. 19. Mold. Sometimes we see mold and take our time doing something about it. In 2013, there were reports that an actress called Brittany Murphy and her screenwriter husband, Simon Monjack, both died mysteriously. Investigators said that the killer could have been mold that had damaged the couple's respiratory systems. The CDC tells us mold can cause all kinds of damage, including giving you liver cancer and lung damage. If that goes on too long, the ending could be you in a brand new coffin. Damn, you should have gotten rid of that old mold. 18. Gas. Your stove, fireplace, grill, and furnace could be killing you slowly and you wouldn't know a thing. That's because if carbon monoxide is leaking, you wouldn't be able to smell it. One day you just might get a headache, feel a bit nauseous, get a bit confused, and then it might suddenly be game over. The CDC tells us that 400 Americans die each year from carbon monoxide poisoning, and 20,000 more end up in the emergency room, with 4,000 of them having a long stay in the hospital. In 2018, 2 people died and another 5 people were hospitalized in London, UK, after carbon monoxide leaked from what was suspected to be a faulty boiler. This really is the silent killer. 17. Blankets. It's been reported that people's heated electric blankets might be giving them cancer, but it gets worse. Only recently, a woman in the USA burned to death after her warm cover started a fire. Okay, so you think that won't happen to you, but listen to this. The National Institute of Health in the USA wrote a paper on how electric blankets had killed people through heat stroke. Maybe you should take a hot water bottle to bed with you instead. 16. AC. So you're now thinking about throwing out that electric blanket and mussing over other ways to stay warm in the winter. Well, summer can be a bummer too, as your AC might end your life. Healthline tells us that a faulty AC could cause refrigerant poisoning, which means too much fluorinated hydrocarbon, the stuff that is used to make you cool, leaking out of your AC. Like with carbon monoxide, you wouldn't know it's happening. Has this happened? Well, Google it and you'll find out. The Indian media reports that a leaking AC took out a family of 3 this year. 15. Keeping the pool clean. Lots of research has been done into something referred to as DBPs. These are the disinfectant byproducts that come from the chemicals we use to clean our pools. Scientists in Germany, Greece, the Netherlands, Spain, and the US concluded that these DBPs could cause asthma, which you might be able to handle. If ingested though, there is also a risk of bladder cancer. The researchers did notice though that the exposure could have come from elsewhere, such as bathing with chlorinated tap water. 14. Lead. This is likely only related to people living in older houses, as we know the dangers of lead paint. Still, many people live in old houses. The Mayo Clinic tells us what could happen if you are exposed to even small amounts of lead-based paint. Children younger than 6 years are especially vulnerable to lead poisoning, which can severely affect mental and physical development. At very high levels, lead poisoning can be fatal. Maybe you should investigate what's coloring your walls. The list of symptoms is a very long one and also quite scary. You might not die, but you could see your IQ getting lower, go deaf, or start writhing around on the floor in a fit of seizures. 13. Extension cords. This is not so much of a silent killer, but a killer nonetheless. The CDC reports that about 4,000 Americans end up in the hospital each year because they've simply tripped over one of these electrical snakes, and that mostly results in fractures, sprains, and of course a red face. Kids, meanwhile, under 5 anyway, sometimes treat these things as candy sticks and bite into them. That can cause nasty burns to the face. In that same report, it was stated that 50 people died as a result of these harmless-looking cords causing house fires. 12. Lint. Oh, what the fluff. Don't tell us that lint is dangerous. It can be if you let it build up in your dryer. The U.S. Fire Administration reports that each year around 2,900 fires occur because of lint buildup in the dryer. That causes around $35 million of property damage, 100 injuries, and 5 deaths. You'll never look at lint the same again. 11. TV. We'll start with this headline from May 2018. TV falls on, kills 4-year-old boy in Orange County home, deputies say. Yes, falling TVs are a problem and cause thousands and thousands of injuries to small kids each year. If you have kids around, you really have to make sure your TV is securely mounted or fastened onto something. You might leave little Billy for just a few seconds as you answer the door, and the next thing you know, he's been crushed under a repeat season of America's Funniest Home Videos. 10. Mothballs. These are the things that protect your clothes from moths and other hungry insects. You might not know anything about naphthalene, which is a human carcinogen. Even inhaling the stuff can give you cancer. But on the bright side, it might just give your kids neurological damage. The National Institutes of Health says poisoning is rare, but if it happens, you might suffer nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and/or diarrhea. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to convulsions, coma, and death. 9. A poor range hood. Back to carbon dioxide, but with a little nitrogen dioxide. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, would say we don't have a carbon monoxide or nitrogen dioxide problem in this country. We absolutely do have that problem. It's just happening indoors, said one doctor talking about how Americans are being exposed to way too many pollutants. He said the hoods above your cooking station just might not be good enough or not work well enough, and this is leading to too much indoor pollution. That might mean respiratory problems coming your way, and also a loss of lung function. 8. Ovens. The deadly oven, but this time it's what you clean it with. We're told that too much exposure to normal oven cleaners can put you in a bad way. You've got to swallow it though, which is unlikely. But if you do, you might expect stomach aches at best. Worst case is organ damage and possibly death. Clean with care. 7. Hot tub. If you Google hot tub death, you can find plenty of people who have drowned in one. It shouldn't be hard not to go under the water for too long, but it seems it happens. But that's not the silent killer heat is. The American Journal of Physics tells us that overheating can happen. This is why, according to the journal, when there is an increase in the fraction of the blood that flows to the skin, the fraction available to other organs will decrease. A decreased flow to the brain can cause unconsciousness or death. Don't let yourself get too hot in the tub. 6. Non-stick pans. It's much easier cooking your eggs when they don't get massacred because they stuck to the pan. But non-stick pans can cause their own problems. These pans might be covered with Teflon, which is heat-resistant plastic. That can release perfluorooctanoic acid, which has been known to kill birds. Your pet parrot might get Teflon toxicosis as you are frying up an 8-ounce steak. Teflon's creator DuPont has said illness may only happen to humans if they grossly overheat the pan. Still, if it kills birds, it's likely not great for you. 5. Chimney. Alright, Squire, fancy getting your chimney swept? Back in the day, the chimney sweeps of the UK had one of the most dangerous jobs ever known to mankind. Thankfully, these days, we don't send 12-year-olds down old dangerous flues, but chimneys are still dangerous if they get blocked. That happened in the USA in 2015 when 3 kids died from carbon monoxide poisoning because their house's chimney hadn't been cleaned. An official called it a catastrophic failure of the flue pipe. 4. The couch. Yes, your couch is a killer. In fact, it might be the biggest killer on this list, but for more indirect reasons. That is, you sit on the damn thing too much. Glued to the couch, glued to the TV, with a Coke and a double-dipped chocolate cookie seemingly glued to each hand. Harvard Medicine tells us that half of the average person's waking hours are spent sitting, watching television, working at a computer, commuting, or doing other physically inactive pursuits. All that sitting, it says, is leading to an early grave for many Americans. Too much couch time, says studies, is related to type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cancer-related deaths. Your couch is not your friend. Don't get too comfortable. 3. your bed. And if it's not your addictive, sadistic couch that's trying to finish you off, it's that wonderful rectangular dream station upstairs that is the next step to a date with death. The CDC reports that 33,381 Americans die each year from falling. But what you might not know is more and more people have been dying each year from falling out of bed. We don't know why there's been an increase. Right now, it's about 700 people a year die from going over the side. 2. Air freshener. The Ackerman Cancer Center and many other sources tell us that plug-in air fresheners contain phthalate and other hazardous chemicals. According to the center, these might be benzene, formaldehyde, propellants, solvents, benzenes, and synthetic musks. They can be inhaled but also be absorbed by the skin. The upshot is that these chemicals can damage the lungs, liver, kidneys, and central nervous system, as well as disrupt your hormones. Poison.org tells us that they contain volatile organic compounds, and no, they are not too good for your health. You certainly don't want to use these things for a long time. 1. Toothpaste. Last on the list, something we use every day, a few times a day. Did you know that your tube of toothpaste comes with a poison warning? That's because too much fluoride intake might not just make your teeth look bad, but it can poison you. If a child swallowed too much toothpaste, that child could even die. Alternet tells us that even if you don't swallow the stuff, the bit you absorb could be harmful. Meanwhile, Dr. Mercola says you might not think much about the ingredients in your toothpaste compared to the ingredients in your food or even other personal care products, but those pea-sized dollops on your toothbrush twice a day add up. The site then lists 7 toxins found in toothpastes. These may sound scary, but we're hoping at least it's been educating. Maybe you could add to the list, or tell us if you had some bad experiences related to things we've mentioned. Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video, What's in the Helmet of a US Air Force Pilot. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.